Hi everybody, my name is Bob Saunders and I am going to talk to you today about something that you'll probably think is totally crazy. And I wouldn't blame you, because if it hadn't happened to me, I would not have believed it. But it did happen and I'm going to tell you about it now. Okay? Now, I've got some notes here. I actually typed them out because it's quite an important, I consider it quite an important event. Now, I live in the south of France, not very far from the Pyrenees Mountains, okay? And I live here with my family and a number of cats and an old dog called Kenzo. I'm mentioning him because he's part of the story. Now, Kenzo is very old. He's totally deaf. He's almost blind. And worst of all, he suffers from Alzheimer's disease. So that means that when I take him out for a walk, I need to be careful where I take him, because if I take him somewhere strange, he can often go into one of these Alzheimer's fits and he gets very scared and he doesn't know where he is and so on. So I always take the same route when I take him for a walk. And we live slightly in the countryside in the south of France, as I mentioned. Now, I will also quickly mention the moon. I'm sure you know all this, but I'm going to mention it anyway. Sometimes we see the moon in the night sky, but we don't always see it in the night sky. Sometimes you can see it during daytime, and sometimes you don't see it at all. And that's because, depending on where you and I are on the planet Earth, the moon moves around in its own orbit, so it changes. Sometimes it's in the night sky, sometimes it's in the day sky. Okay, now I'm going, excuse me just a moment, I've got my wires all caught up. Right, I'm going to talk about what happened on Tuesday the 13th of January 2015. I left our house with our dog about 9 o'clock in the morning to take him for this little walk that we do every day. I come out the house, I turn right, and I'm on a little road. It's not very long, about 100 yards long. We went down it, and there's a forest of oak trees there, okay? And I noticed hanging above the oak trees was an almost full moon. But this was in the daytime, about 9 o'clock in the morning, okay? I let the dog off his lead and I let him run about, sniffing and thing, and I sort of just stayed there a couple of minutes looking at the moon from time to time, and then we continued back home. In the afternoon, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon of this Tuesday the 13th of January, we came out again, the same walk, and there I noticed the moon was in exactly the same spot. It hadn't moved. And I thought that was weird, because normally, whether it's daytime or nighttime, the space of a few hours, you notice the moon moves. But this hadn't moved, okay? So, okay. I came home. Wednesday the, what did I say, the 13th? Wednesday the 14th, I came out about 9 o'clock in the morning, got up to the oak trees, and there was the moon in exactly the same spot still. I thought, this is not right. In the afternoon, I came back, and there was the moon in exactly the same spot. That was 2 days that the moon hadn't moved. So I thought, this is not right. So I got in touch with some friends that I have that live in America and asked them if they had heard of the moon behaving bizarrely recently. And they said, they wrote back to me, we did all this by email, they wrote back to me and said, no, we haven't heard anything in recent times, but there's been some stories of the moon acting bizarrely in the past, but nothing up to date. So, okay. So the next day was Thursday, and I took him for a walk, the dog for a walk, and there's the moon still there. In the afternoon, I come back, and there's the moon still there again. Now, this was 3 days. And I thought, this is very, very strange. The next day, Friday, about 9 o'clock in the morning, I come out and I get to this oak tree forest, and I look, and the moon's gone. Wow, what's happening now? And I looked round, and right, I forgot to say something. Where this oak tree forest is and where the moon was due south. Not that it's any great relevance, but I mention it's due south. Due west, I do apologise, due west. On this Friday, I look and I see that the moon has disappeared. So I look round, and then I notice due south that the moon is there. It's jumped around 45 degrees, a quarter of a circle, overnight, in the space of, I don't know, but it jumped, and is now a quarter moon, probably an old quarter moon. But over there, it was a full moon, and here, 45 degrees round, and it's a quarter moon. And I thought, no, this is not possible. Something's weird here. So I decided to get in touch with my guides. Now, I don't like doing this because my guides are here to help me and other people develop our spirituality, not to answer questions about the moon. So I hesitated, but I thought, no, I'm going to do this. And I've got 3 ways to contact my guides. I can either, while I'm sitting writing emails to people, helping them, I can just ask, and they'll give, if I don't know the answer to something that I ask, and they'll just tell me. Or I can do it through meditation. While I'm meditating, I can sit and chat to them. Or I can do it through what they call lucid dreaming. Just before going to sleep, I can ask a question, and then they'll answer it in the form of like a dream, except that I'm watching the dream. It's called lucid dreaming. You probably know what I'm talking about. So that Friday, I had a very busy day. I had to go to airports and pick my wife up and all this sort of thing. And so I had a busy day. So I decided to do it at night through the dream sort of thing, the lucid dreaming. So just before falling asleep, I told my guides all about this, and could they please provide the answer, which they did. And let me find it, it's on page 2, I think. I wrote it all down. Give me just a second. Right, now then. Right, here we go. As if you've watched any of my other videos, you may know that we volunteered to come from heaven down here to earth to assist with the spiritual development of the planet Earth. Okay? Now, apparently, if we had come down here from heaven, if you like, the higher 4th dimension, with all our powers intact, our psychic powers, telepathy and all sorts of things intact, we would be very, very powerful beings indeed. Now, all the time we're doing good, that's okay. But if people, because as we come down from heaven, we're not all good. Most of us are, but some, as you know, are actually quite nasty people. Now, if these nasty people had come down with all their powers intact, they could have wreaked havoc on the planet, killing people with a look and doing all sorts of nasty things. So, this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty of the thing. So, we need to have our powers dumbed down, lessened. Okay? Now, this is where this planet, this moon comes in. Now, according to my guides, and you believe this or not, it's up to you, according to my guides, the planet moon, the moon, was made many, many millions of years ago. It's actually a natural body. It's made of earth and rocks and things, but it's been adapted for a special purpose. And on one side, the side that we see, is a great big magnet inside it that, in our case, holds the moon. If this is the planet Earth and this is the moon, it holds it in one position. You notice the planet moon doesn't revolve. the planet Earth revolves, but the moon doesn't. The moon is always stationary. That's because of this great big magnet that's drawn towards the planet Earth and holds it stationary, because on the far side of the moon is a dumbing down machine. I don't know how else to call it. It's a machine that's been put there for millions of years, that its function is to send a ray through to the astral realms that dumb us down, reduce our psychic abilities. Okay? I'll come back to this in a minute. Now, apparently, the moon has been used for this function, not just here on Earth, but all over the galaxy for a long time. Because every time the archangels decide to create a new planet somewhere, and every time they decide to put humans on that planet, they're faced with the same problem, that if the humans came down with all their powers intact, there would be mayhem. So they created this, or somebody created this moon with this dumbing down machine on the far side of it, and they tow it round the universe, and every time a new planet is created with humans on it, then they put this moon in position as long as it takes for the population of that planet to evolve to a peaceful state. Then they can take it away, because it's people will live in peace. All the time they're in this sort of warfare state like we are here, they need to be dumbed down so the planet stays there. When it's no longer needed, it's towed away to another new planet with humans on it and put there. Now, to come to planet Earth, apparently, once again, this is what my guides told me on that Friday night, and believe it or not, we humans volunteered to come down here with the object of raising the spiritual energy, which some of us do and some of us don't. But in the first state, for long millions of years, we were so sort of primitive that it didn't matter. But once we started to get to the point where we could understand esoteric things and psychic things, then something needed to be done to dumb us down. So the moon was towed into our orbit and stuck there, with the one side always facing us, and on the other side, these beings, now whether it's always the same being that lasts millions and millions of years, or if there's a succession of them, I don't know. But there's beings there that tweak this machine in order to dumb us down. Okay, now that's kind of the bad news in a way. Now the good news is that with effect from 2012, there's been a change. And spiritual energy from a number of sources, including the galactic alignment of the different planets, is pouring down to us, and we are gradually becoming more spiritually minded. I know that there's a stack of wars and things going on, but that's just the death throes of the nasty people. You will see in a few years' time, you will see it all calm down a bit. Now, the beings that control that machine and control our destiny, I suppose, to a certain extent, decided that they wanted to reduce the dumbing down effect so that us goodies could raise our level of spirituality more easily and higher. So they turned the machine down, so the rays coming to us are less powerful. Now apparently, to do that, for some reason, I don't understand, for some reason they needed to effectively stop the moon in one position and tweak their machine. Now, in order to do this, they created a space-time continuum vortex between the Earth and the moon, which effectively blocked time and froze it for 3 days, the time that they needed to make all this work, to reduce the frequency. And or the power of this machine. And when they'd finished after 3 days, they got rid of this space-time continuum thing, and the moon then jumped to where it should have been in the first place. Okay, they froze it in position for 3 days, and then chonk, once they'd unlocked it, it naturally jumped to where it should have been, south instead of west, and like a new, almost like a new moon, but it would have been an old moon. But you know, a very thin moon, which is what I saw. Now, I don't know if other people around the planet have seen it. Obviously, there will be some people that, here in France where I live, if the moon is shining here, there would be people maybe in Australia that couldn't see it because it's the wrong side of the planet. But I would imagine that there's been other people that have spotted that it stayed still for 3 days. I haven't managed to find any yet, so I thought I'd put this online as on YouTube as a video. You believe it or not, I'm telling you the truth as I saw it and as my guides told me about it. You either believe it or you don't. If anybody's got any information that corroborates what I've just said, please contact me, or the opposite if you want. I'm quite open to discussion with people. If you've got any information, please contact me and I'll be more than happy to discuss the thing with you. Okay, now I'm sorry it sounds so crazy, but it may be quite important to us if it's true. Okay, thank you for listening to me, and I'll speak to you again another day on a more sensible topic, I hope. Okay, bye.